A house is made of wood and stone, but only love can make a home. Welcome to the RepcoLite Home Improvement Show, helping you make your home into one you'll love even more. On News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Well, good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. Haley, happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday, Dan.
Before we get to the thing that we want to do, I want to talk about, I want to give people a little just touch of insight into what it's like to be here and how weird it is sometimes to be in our little studio.
Okay.
I think they have some idea already, don't you think?
I think you talk enough that they know.
Anyway, we've got a whiteboard, and we always are putting down little ideas, little bits of things that happen, and we think, okay, maybe that's something, right?
Yeah.
So we'll write an idea down. And then we don't think that's strange. We see the note, and it doesn't mean anything to us.
Then we understand it.
I had my son, Andrew, here last week. He was helping me with some stuff, and I walked into our little studio, and he's standing looking at the whiteboard, and he's got this puzzled look, and he's very confused. And I said, "What's up?" And he says, I don't understand your board. What is going on? What do you guys do here? I said, "What are you talking about? That's just ideas. What's the problem?" And he said, "Well, what about this one?" And he points out this thing that says cat cleaning bag.
I'm not in the mob.
Yeah, underneath it, "I'm not in the mob." He says, "What in the world does cat cleaning bag, I'm not in the mob, mean?" I said, "That was brilliant gold." Haley found a cat cleaning bag on Amazon or something.
I don't even know how this came. I think because I was looking at cat toys. Amazon knows I have a cat, and so it gives me all these suggestions on toys that Burger would love. And a cat washing bag, I don't know, cleaning bag. It looks like a laundry bag that you put your cat inside of and tie it around its neck.
Anybody with a cat knows that that's just going to work, right? And Haley's saying,
"How does this exist?"
Yeah, I'm looking at that saying, "This is just crazy. You know, I can't imagine the cat tolerating that." I said, "Are you going to buy one?" And your answer was, "No, I'm not in the mob." And I thought that was brilliantly funny. We wrote it down.
You have to see it. It really looks like I'm just going to throw this cat into the river afterwards. Because
it's so photoshopped because the cat looks just so
totally
pleasantly
calm,
restrained.
There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Utterly ridiculous. That's what that note was for. I had to explain to Andrew. I think that helped. But it did make me wonder how many other people come through here when we're not around to explain that.
Well,
coworkers?
I mean, we've had interview people in now.
Oh, interview people. I wonder what they think. They
that
don't
we're
dare
not
ask.
in the mob.
Yeah, at least they know that much. Anyway, today we've got all kinds of stuff. We're going to be talking with Sue Prinz and Ginger Herman from Sue Prinz Group 5-Star Real Estate about the state of the real estate market right now.
Yep.
What you need to know if you're thinking about jumping in. What you need to know if you're already in there. Right. We've got some info with that. We're also going to be talking about some paint products that might be great alternatives. Last week we talked about how there's shortages worldwide. And, we want to give you some alternative products out there because there are great solutions. If you can't get that ideal product that you were shooting for, we've got some great alternatives. We're going to hit that at the end. But right now we're going to hit a paint question that came in a couple weeks ago, and it's a pretty straightforward one, but we like it.
Yeah, Nancy Faulkner asked, what is the correct way to dispose of used brushes and rollers? And the answer is typically pretty simple.
Yep.
If it's latex paint, if it's water-based paint, those can just go straight in the garbage. There's no special care that you need.
Other than knowing that it's going to get all over the place.
Well, it'll be messy.
Oh, yeah, but I grab the garbage can to move it, forgetting, and I always grab that part of it where it's smeared.
Yes.
So throwing them in little plastic bags and sealing them up is probably a good way to go. But yes, they can be just tossed.
However, I answered the question letting her know that you can let these things dry out in a well-ventilated area because if you are using anything that's a solvent-based or an oil-based paint or, varnish, whatever it is, it should be well-ventilated and let to dry because we talked about before, if you just throw those things away, they can spontaneously combust. So It's not such a silly question when we're looking at the larger scheme of things that can be really dangerous. So it's a good question.
Right. The oil-based stuff, like Haley says, let that dry out. And that really works well for the latex, too, just to save on the mess that could be in the garbage can. I don't know how many garbage cans that I have permanently marked up with paint all over them.
You've painted the garbage cans?
Yeah. And that's not the biggest deal, but it is kind of messy. But when we're talking about all of this cleaning, we are heading into spring. right?
Right.
Literally
It
is spring.
is spring now.
And so we've got spring cleaning and all of that coming up. Another question that comes up all the time, Nancy didn't ask it, but other people do in droves on our website. They're always asking, what can I do with paint that I don't want anymore? Leftover latex paint, will you take it back? And the answer is we do. We can take that paint and we can either responsibly dispose of it or we can recycle it, depending on the color. We've got a place that we send them to and they'll recycle it. And we'll do that for $3 a container. We've got a handling fee that we've got to deal with. But any size container, that covers. The only stipulations are the paint has to be in its original container.
Right. We need to know what it is.
Right, when you bring it back. And that's pretty much it. We'd like to have about 20 containers at a given time, so we can get them out of your car, get them loaded up, and get them sent out where they need to go. If we have too many more than that, it's kind of hard to deal with sometimes, especially with people in the store.
Well, I would call ahead if you've got something that's a larger amount, just so that we are aware and we can plan for it. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward and simple, and definitely a way to clear all that stuff out of your basement.
Right, and that's a great way to go because, that stuff really can pile up. What's your basement look like, Haley? Do you have lots of extra stuff?
The previous homeowners left all of the paint cans that they used in the entire house and outside. So I have an entire shelving unit full of paint that I'm never going to use because I'm repainting.
Right. So many of us have that. I'm looking at my basement, and I've got paint from ages back. The homeowners saved it, so that was nice, but they've repainted since then. So I've got old paint that I have no idea even where it goes. I don't think it even goes into the house anymore, and I'd love to clean it up and get it in. So I've got to do that sometime, and I know lots of people have the same thing. So you can bring that paint to us. Like we said, it's got to be in its original container. It's $3 a container, and it's got to be latex paint. You can find more info about that at RepcoLite.com. Right now, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll be in the studio with Sue Prinz and Ginger Herman talking about the real estate market. That's all just ahead. Stick around.
Helping you turn your house into your dream home. This is the RepcoLite Home Improvement Show, presented by Benjamin Moore on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
And we're back, and we are in the studio with Sue Prinz and Ginger Herman from Sue Prinz Group 5-Star Real Estate. We're having a good time already. Haley's yucking it up already, right?
Well,
right off the bat.
I love these people.
Yeah. No, we're here to talk about what, Haley? The state of the
state of the market. Well, it's been over a year since we talked to you guys last. And since then, Ginger helped me buy a house.
Yeah.
Closed in September. And I've heard that you're more busy now and that it's even crazier. So I wanted an update on just the market right now.
Yeah. Sue,
for it.
You want me to start?
Well, you just sold Haley a house. How was that, Ginger?
I know. Well, I feel like, Haley, it worked out because you guys got really burned out by the market, and then you took a break, and inside I was like, don't take a break because it's going to be worse. But then you just came back at a really good time, and I don't know. Everything fell into place.
It
really
got
worked
so
out.
Lucky.
Yes, I do think you got lucky. But it really worked out. But I do feel like it is probably even crazier than when you were searching. For one, home prices are up even higher than when you were searching. Mm-hmm. And then
Which seems crazy to me.
I know.
I mean,
which means you
when I was
already
looking.
Yes.
And it was overwhelming and competitive and so many offers at once. And for anyone looking now, like my heart goes out to them because it's
now
so
you
stressful.
understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, which also means you now already have equity into your house because that's how much prices are increasing.
I know.
It's so crazy to think that your house has increased in value in that short of time. But the reality is about 1% a month homes are increasing in value.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah. That's huge. Because we're, like 10 to 15% a year. So you've already
great
increased.
For a home seller, but
also for a buyer because
you've
gotten what has happened for you is you've capitalized on a low interest rate, even though some people think the interest rates are climbing, but they're still low. These are incredible rates yet. I just talked to somebody at Cross Country Mortgage today, and she quoted 4.25.
Okay.
Well, keep in mind, I'm a little older than you.
No.
I'm a lot older than you.
Okay.
We were looking at, I remember our first mortgage we had was 12%. And then when it went to 8%, we thought, oh my gosh, this is crazy. When it went to 6%, we're like, this is like free money. Let's refinance,
Yeah, so it's all relative.
It's all relative.
Yeah.
You've gotten a great rate and you're gaining equity. So you might have paid a little bit more than what you wanted to, but it's better off to pay more actually on a purchase price than pay a higher interest rate. So if the interest rates keep going up, you've gained, that as well.
You're in a
like,
better
oh
position.
man, we caught it on the low side.
Yeah, the millennials will never understand high interest rates because high
4%. Oh my gosh.
Exactly. High to us is 4.5. That's not high, so it's still a really good time to buy.
Yeah.
So I feel like you should quick mention about the buying power for interest rates, because people come to us wondering like, well, now that interest rates are increasing, should I not buy? But you really should actually jump in right now. For one, she said historically they are, still low. But as your interest rate increases, your buying power decreases.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a quick and dirty example would be like if it was a $300,000 mortgage that you're going to take out in an increased in not even a whole percent, maybe like even a 0.5%, you could be looking at $10,000 decrease. So, now like $290 in your buying power.
Yeah. Yep.
Does that make sense?
I think so.
So let's say your interest rate just went from 4.0 to 4.2. Your budget might have went from 300 to like 295 or 290.
Okay, so it kind of restricts the range that I can look at.
Yes.
If I'm
Right.
looking for a
While
house.
house prices keep going up.
Right.
Yes.
So
maybe, the houses that you were looking at, okay, this is perfect size for us and it's still somewhat updated, but as your buying power goes down, you're looking at houses that are either smaller or not as updated anymore. So buyers, we want them to jump in now. Yes, the home prices are high, but your interest rate is still low, and that's why it's a really good time to buy.
What does the just the inventory look like right now? To jump in as a buyer, Haley, you were sometimes 15 offers were coming in, bids on it. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
So what does it look like right now for somebody who does want to jump in?
It's as you described. You're probably 15 is more like a minimum right now of offers coming in, depending on price. I mean. And the funny thing is it doesn't really matter on price range as far as multiple offers. We're seeing it on all levels, maybe up until, I don't know, the $1 million range. But even then, I've been looking with a buyer who can go up that high now. And it's crazy that we've been in competition even at that level. But we're still looking at low inventory. I mean, some areas there'll be zero on the market. So think about it. It's like, about a year ago, we talked about the shark tank, and there's all these sharks swimming around that little morsel in the middle, waiting to dive in, the morsel being the house, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, offer deadline, boom, they all, shoom, they all go after the house. And I wrote on a house maybe, 2 months ago, something like that. We had 42 offers.
42 offers.
42 offers. And this is just a Jenison ranch. We won it. But we paid for it. Yeah. I mean, we were the top dog because we paid the highest price, Yeah.
So that's what it takes. I mean, are there other things, though, I guess, if someone's considering, starting that process of looking for a house, how can they plan for this, I guess? Obviously more money is necessary, but I mean, I'm trying to think what I would have told myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we should talk about cash.
The big elephant in the corner. Everyone wants to know, how much money do I need? Yeah. You need a lot of money.
You need cash. Yeah.
Not a full cash offer. We don't mean which I will say a lot of buyers are getting beat out by cash offers. That doesn't mean cash is king right now, because there are buyers that are still willing to pay over whatever a cash offer brings.
Sure.
But you need extra funds, extra money to put at the house for one, you need to be able to cover your own closing costs yourself. And for two, with these crazy priced offers, the house often doesn't appraise at what you're purchasing it for. So you need extra cash to pay over appraisal value. Mm-hmm. That is what our market is at right now.
Yeah, that's called appraisal gap guarantee is what is being written in probably 95% of the offers that we're writing or receiving for our sellers.
So
what's the biggest gap that you've seen?
Oh, full price.
Well, I was going to say a lot of people just write right on there, unlimited.
Yeah.
Unlimited.
Which means if you appraise like 40,000 low, someone is coming in with 40,000 cash over an appraisal.
over the appraised.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I would say though minimum is like 5,000 that I usually see. More people are kind of in that range from like anywhere from I don't know like 8 or 10 to 20,000. It always depends on the house, right?
Sure.
And the price range too, because the
Yeah.
higher it seems like the higher the price range. Like I saw some the other day. It was a $500,000 price range, and then I was seeing like 50,000 over. Mm-hmm. So
Just cash.
Cash.
Yep.
See, I keep all my cash in suitcases. I guess I could get it out and use it for this.
If you brought it to the open house and just showed the seller,
There you go. Yeah,
will
that's
pay
a
this
good
much over.
negotiating technique.
that might win it for you.
We're sitting here with Sue Prinz and Ginger Herman from Sue Prinz Group 5-Star Real Estate, talking about the state of the market. How are your buyers holding up as they're working
rough
through this?
Emotionally.
Yeah.
They've got Band-Aids all over them and bruises.
It feels like that, and
Yeah,
I'm
it
not even a
does.
part of it. I
It
mean, when
does.
I was here for Haley's experience
Yeah, sorry.
last year, it was brutal,
Sorry about that.
and it's even worse now.
Yeah.
How are they holding up?
Well, I think what's really tough, because I have some buyers that, we're in that, especially the first time buyers, that's probably the toughest. Don't you think that, Ginger, the toughest?
yeah.
Because let's say you've got a buyer who can afford a $250,000 to $300,000 maximum is their limit. And you can't buy much in the better areas with better school districts for $300,000. That seems crazy, right? So, if they go to write on a house that's priced at $260,000, well, we're seeing anywhere from 10 to 20% over the asking price getting accepted. Okay, do the math. You're there, right?
Yeah.
So then we just talked about appraisal gap guarantees. Well, they don't have quite that much. They've got their $300,000 loan, and they've got their 3% down payment. The loan amount, and they've got their 3% down payment, which is $9,000. And then, by the time they need the appraisal gap guarantee, they've got to have a lot of extra jack, right?
Yeah.
So it becomes very frustrating. So then they might say, well, why don't I just sit on it and would just I think you did that, Haley, right? We talked about that. You took a break. But then in the meantime, we also talked about home prices going up at 1%. So while it's rice and beans, and you're saving your money, but what's happening? It can't keep up. That is the reality. And that's why I feel probably the most sorry for those buyers, because it just feels like it's such a crazy train for them, because they're trying so hard to save enough to get the home that they want and not settle.
Right.
And they want to get out of the rent situation, because the rent's gone up crazy over the years.
Yeah, I mean, you're not winning anywhere.
No. So, yeah.
You're winning once you get the house.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's when you're
That is
winning.
when you're
That's
winning.
true.
All right, we're going to take a break. Can you guys hang with us?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, never mind.
Way to
We're
keep
gonna
the upper hand.
Try to keep Sue here. Ginger says she's going to be here. We'll be talking about maybe some comforts if you're looking at buying a house. Maybe we've got some answers for you, some help, and we're also going to talk about what it's like to be a seller and maybe some things you might need to do. Maybe there's nothing you need to do. We're going to find out just ahead. Stick around.
If you want to take your DIY skills up a rung, the RepcoLite Home Improvement Show is here to give you a boost on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
And we're back and in the studio with Sue Prinz and Ginger Herman from Sue Prinz Group 5-Star Real Estate. And we're going to talk about, real estate.
Comforting words.
No.
maybe.
Well, that's what, yes, comforting words. That's how I ended the last segment, that I was looking for comforting words for buyers, because that's the kind of person I am. I'm a big-hearted person, taking care of the people. And in the middle of the break, Sue references my manly beard that I've been talking about and said, what? I can't look at you without giggling.
It makes me giggle.
Here I am, concerned for the people, looking for comfort, and I'm being attacked.
Maybe they're comforted by your beard.
Well, it's because, it's kind of like Santa Claus. And, you get comfort from...
Not the physique.
No, not the physique, the beard.
I've been working out. I'm old. I can't help it.
It's not the physique, it's the beard.
Santa makes you feel good. He makes you giggle.
He does like cookies.
Anyway, what are we even talking about? I don't even
Real
remember the point of this
Real
anymore.
estate.
Real estate.
There we go. Yeah.
Comfort for
Come on,
buyers.
bring it back.
I'm a professional. I can land this. Real estate. Comfort for buyers. It sounds really scary out there. I know from Haley's experience, it is really scary. It's very frustrating. You see something, you make an offer, nothing seems to work. What do you do? I mean, we keep trying, because you mentioned at the end of the last segment, taking a break isn't really helpful because prices just keep going up. What do we do in the meantime when we're not getting success? If we're thinking about jumping into this market, what do you guys think? What do we do?
Well, one of the things that's worked for me with my buyers, especially those first-time buyers like you or Haley, is to lower standards.
Yeah.
I've got lower standards.
Oh, no.
That's easy.
But look at the end goal, because if you even dropping back price a little bit, because then that gives you a little more buying power, that wiggle room, that ability to be able to go up in price, probably higher than that other buyer in the multiple offer situation. And knowing that, yes, you're going to, probably be paying top price for this, but who isn't?
Yeah.
But then you're going to gain it, as we said, in equity growing 1% right now a month is the average. And then, do some easy fixes to the house to cuten it up so that when it comes time to, move up that next time, capitalize on that equity that you've gained. I think you're going to be a happy camper. You were the winner. You got the house.
Right.
But maybe it didn't check all the boxes, but that's okay. I mean,
I think that's good advice. Just lowering standards a little bit so that you have more options. Because you said that's no problem for you.
No, if it's got a roof and a toilet, I can live there.
Good to go.
Yeah.
No, I think it's important though. And like you said, you're gaining equity once you've bought in, right? So at that point, you're no longer renting. You're not just throwing that money away.
Right.
You're actually getting something back at that point. And most likely it's still a better situation than if you were still renting.
Right. Well, absolutely. Because with rent, that money is basically you're just tossing that money away. I mean, towards the housing. But when you purchase, you not only get the equity back into it, especially now, but also the value of the tax deduction for that interest payment.
All right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So there's things we can do in that regard. Lower our standards.
So maybe
which
fewer
I know
bedrooms.
What you mean.
Here's the thing: if someone is looking at, I can afford $300,000. So that tends to be their standard. Like they're looking at $300,000 up to $300,000, right? But if you pull back to about $250,000, now you've got that, extra $50,000 to play with.
Because houses go so far over the list price.
Exactly.
So you do need to drop your price budget anyway.
Because you're not going to win if you write an offer likely with a $300,000 ability to, for a loan. And then right at $300,000, you're not going to get that because they're probably going to go for $330,000 or $360,000.
Right. Ginger, during the break, you mentioned something about how in Grand Rapids, we used to be able to, snatch up houses at certain low prices. And I think your phrase was, we're living on the West Coast now, kind of. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, well, everyone always compares it. They're like, man, out in California, everything sells for cash. Everything goes for $150,000 over appraisal value. And we always think of it as the West Coast. Well, we have kind of started to move into that market where everything sells over, not everything, but most everything is selling over appraisal value. So you need to have that extra cash. If buyers just change their mindset, automatically going in, you see a house pop up on the market, already look at that price point as, okay, it's not even worth that. It's already worth more than what the listing price is. That already makes you feel a little bit better, right? Someone listed at $200,000. Most likely their marketing strategy was to list it a little bit low to get multiple offers.
Right.
So that $200,000 maybe is already right off the gate worth $220,000. Okay, now how much are you going to go above that $220,000, above that appraisal value? So that's kind of, you need to start thinking about that. If you're a buyer, when you see a house post for sale and you see a price tag of $300,000, no, it's already worth more than that.
Well, I feel like it has to be almost like a stricter business decision at this point. Like it can't be as emotional as a decision could be when you're buying a house. I think, you know, it's hard not to get attached to things, but I think that was one of the things that I struggled with. And I'm so lucky that I had Ginger, you know, by my side through the whole thing. She was very helpful during the process and kept me calm. But I think that that's just a hard aspect of buying a home. So if I could just be a little bit more detached, understand that I'm, you know, preparing to lose on a few houses before I get the right one. Right. Having that expectation going in, I think, helps a lot too.
And then how much sweeter was that house when you got it?
So much sweeter.
See?
Such a relief.
Yeah.
Done with that.
And I got to say, Haley, you trusted me, but you trusted your agent. So buyers need to trust their agent. When we're saying this is how high you need to go or this is what you need to do, okay, you might have to waive inspections for this house. We're not necessarily saying that's a good idea, but if you want to win the house, here's what you got to do.
Right.
Trust them that they're telling you because they're trying to get you the house.
Right.
And it might take a couple offers for someone to really understand, like, my agent just told me to write $40,000 over. What? Well, we're telling you that because we're going to get you the house. We know what we're doing. We've been in this market since the beginning.
Yeah.
And you trusted me to tell you, you know, here's what you got to do to get the house.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even what you said about inspections, that too it seems so risky for a buyer, and we're not saying we're encouraging that or want you to make that decision. We're just telling you that's how you will win it. But what we can do is do what's called a pre-offer inspection.
Yes.
And to protect you. So basically you're looking at all the majors, you know, that maybe, you know, could be
prior to even writing the offer.
Could be, you know, cost concerns for you.
Plumbing, wiring,
purchasing.
Mold.
Yeah. So there's ways we can help you through that. What we're trying to do is help you to make a clean offer, which is, I'm sure is what you guys ended up doing. You wrote a clean offer. Yep. You wrote it strong, appraisal gap guarantee, all of those things that you were coached into doing.
Pre-inspection.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you do a pre-inspection? Yeah. See, that's awesome. You know, so you were protected.
Yep.
We're in the studio with Sue Prinz and Ginger Herman from Sue Prinz Group 5-Star Real Estate. In the last little bit that we've got, a couple minutes, what about sellers? Is there anything we need to do? Do you just throw a sign in your yard and you're good?
Just sit on a lazy boy and put your feet up.
Put your feet up.
No, I'm just
stick a sign in the yard. You're good.
No, you still need an agent there to walk you through the market. Because I'm going to tell you, there's been for sale by owners that have popped up, and Sue will probably tell you this too. They're leaving money at the table if they don't have an agent on their
Hands
side.
down. Yeah.
But anyway, we talked about what do they need to do? Do you need to do any major renovations? Depends on the house, but if I go in there and everything's relatively good to go, major decluttering, like make the rooms look as big as you can, get rid of some of that furniture, even put it out in the garage. I'd rather see it in the garage than in your house. Major cleaning, like have everything just looking really tip-top shape, because if you are a seller that is making your house look this good, you might get the offers in that people are waiving inspections on your house, and that's what we want to do. So I've even had a couple sellers we've already paid for up front, like a furnace tune-up, and then we provide that to people. Hey, I know our furnace is old, but we just got it tuned up. Someone just signed off on it. Well, then you might get buyers that are like, okay, they're taking good care of their house. It obviously looks clean. They just got their furnace tuned up. We might be willing to waive inspections on this house. What do you think, Sue?
Yeah. I agree. And I think, you know, as far as how far do you go in fixing it up, it's really a situation where the sellers need to decide too what's more important. Because if you start doing some cosmetic fixes, you know, changing paint colors and, you know, putting up new lighting, even those are inexpensive fixes, but you can add value. You know, so there's the one side of it that we could say you don't need to do a thing. Well, that's true. You don't need to do a thing to get crazy high offers. Sure. But if you put a little bit of time and money and sweat into it,
you could tenfold.
Yeah, you could really.
We'll get you even more.
Yeah. So it really depends.
We like to do those walkthroughs and just kind of we're very honest and upfront with our sellers. Like, we're going to give you as much information about what you can change, but take it how you want. You don't have to do all of it.
Right.
Like
you
Sue
are very
said.
honest. You're absolutely very honest because Sue, you came through my house. I was just getting prices and stuff. I was telling Haley about this. I'm still weeping. You didn't like my countertops at all,
Okay.
and you couldn't get past that.
Couldn't get past it.
It was very funny because you would talk about, oh, this is nice. Oh, those counters though. And then you'd go to another room and, oh, I really like those counters, though. Those counters.
I don't even remember those counters.
Well,
they couldn't have been that bad.
Well, okay, maybe they were fine. It really, really got you there. But you were honest, and it gave me a good idea where I was at.
Yeah.
If our listeners are on either end of that spectrum, they're looking at buying, they're looking at selling, I think you guys have made the case that dealing with an agent is the way to go. How's the best way for them to get in touch with you guys?
My cell phone is 616-723-2400. That's for Sue Prinz and Ginger.
616-633-5880.
And where do they find you online?
www.sueprinz.com.
Oh,
That's easy.
it's about as easy as it
Super.
gets, isn't
You
it?
can't forget it.
Ginger and Sue, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
All right, Haley, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about paint products, paint alternatives. But that's really boring. So you decided you wanted to flavor it as what?
Well,
paint superheroes?
all of these paints have their own superpowers. We talk about Scuff-X superpower quite a bit, but all these other ones have their own claims to fame.
All right, so we're going to get to those superpowers and their secret identities just ahead. Stick around.
If you want to take your DIY skills up a rung, the RepcoLite Home Improvement Show is here to give you a boost on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Well, Haley, we're back, but before we get to the whole superhero thing, which personally I think's a little bit of a stretch, I think it's a little ridiculous, and when I think something's ridiculous, that means it could be way out there, because some of the things I think are pretty good, those are ridiculous.
I'm surprised at you. You really like superheroes
I
normally.
like superheroes. It just feels like a real stretch to me. But we're going to get to that. But before we do, we've got to go back and touch on something. Ginger and Sue just left.
Yes.
And we've already received a phone call from Sue talking about something that she failed to mention as specifically as she wanted to when talking about cash offers.
Right.
There's a little more. When talking about cash needed to buy a house, there's more info that she wanted to get to. And so it's important enough, after talking with Sue a little bit, we realized it's a bigger topic than we have time to cover you and I real quick here.
Yes,
so we're going
definitely.
to bring them back in a week or two to kind of dig into that.
We'll just break down, all the costs, all the money that you're going to need and where it's going and why you need it.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. We'll get to that with Ginger and Sue in a couple of weeks or so. We're not sure yet. Our schedules are a little crazy sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And that's not even talking about Ginger and Sue's schedule. That can be crazy too. Now, let's get to the paint superhero thing, something Haley's very excited about. And here's the deal. We all know that Scuff-X, for example, has superpowers.
Yes,
we have
it
talked
does.
about it ad nauseum. We were just at an event for our contractors, contractor appreciation event at one of our stores. And one of our contractors, an avid listener, listens all the time. I mean, I think.
Huge fan.
Yes, I'm pretty sure. He's got all the collectibles, all the bobbleheads and stuff.
There should be collectibles.
But he pointed out, we need to stop selling Scuff-X because Scuff-X is so hard to get right now.
Yeah.
And
he wants more of it, so no one else should know about it.
It makes sense. He's right. There's a lot of products out there. We do get excited about Scuff-X.
Yeah.
And we really laud all of its superpowers. But other products have, Haley's saying, superpowers too. So we're going to walk through some of those and let you know exactly what's out there and what you could be looking for. And let's start with things like Carefree and Ben. Carefree is a RepcoLite product. It's an interior paint. It used to be years back what I'd call our workhorse. It was the paint that we used for almost everything. It's a great product and a great price point. Ben is a similar product from Benjamin Moore.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be an entry-level product, and Ben specifically was formulated for inexperienced painters. So I would say, both of these products, their superpowers would technically be that they are budget-friendly and that they are very forgiving when you're applying them. You don't have to be an expert painter to have decent results.
Now, those are boring superpowers.
Are they, though?
Well,
if you've got a budget, they're not.
That's true. If I were a superhero, that's the kind of superpower I'd get. You know, I'm not going to have super speed or super strength or even super good looks.
Super budget.
Yeah, I'll be able to budget. There we go. There's Dan, super accountant. Thank goodness he's here, right? Anyway, Carefree and Ben, those are great options, and we have plenty of stock on those products. So that would be something to consider. Secondary bedrooms, main bedrooms, living rooms, areas like that. You wouldn't want to put these on trim, cabinets, stuff like that. That's not what they're there for. That's not their superpower.
No, walls.
Walls, great choices. Hallmark, matte and eggshell. Hallmark is a RepcoLite product, and it has been our premium product for years. We just replaced it on the premium scale, probably with Optima.
Right, exactly.
But Hallmark, matte and eggshell, though, that's what's left in that line, because Optima kind of replaced the satin and the semi-gloss, the reason for having them. But matte and eggshell have been premier products for years for RepcoLite. Those are still out, still available. Great washable products for your walls.
Yeah, more durable than the Carefree or Ben.
What's their superpower? Quantify it.
I would say they balance out the scale a little bit.
She's making a little scale symbol with her hands right now.
It's more budget friendly than, say, Aura or Regal would be, but you're still getting good durability on walls.
Yeah, really good durability. Hallmark, matte, and eggshell, those are great options. We mentioned Optima. That is a really, really premium product. Superpower is,
I would say, the hiding. Based on what I've seen so far, I really am impressed with how well Optima covers. I think that it could be a serious superpower, especially in its price range.
Right. I love it. I think it's great. It's also extremely durable, and it prices out really well.
Exactly.
You missed that. See, I think its superpower is its budget-friendly nature, because a comparable product is probably $30 more a gallon.
Well, yes, that is true.
$30 more a gallon for a comparable product.
Yeah, because the next product that's going to hide as well is going to be something like Aura that we'll get to. But, I mean, that's pricing out, like you said, $30 more.
Yeah, so Optima is a great choice. It's available. Perfect for walls, for trim, for cabinets, for doors. Pretty much anything you can think of, Optima will work really well inside the house for. All right, Regal.
Yeah, I think it's kind of in a similar range as Optima. It's one of those workhorse products where we would recommend it for walls, trim, doors, really anything in the correct sheen. It's a durable product. It's fairly easy to use.
And Benjamin Moore's had no problems keeping that in stock.
Exactly. This is a flagship product. So
that's Regal. What about Aura? That's the last one that we've got on our list, Haley.
Aura is definitely a superhero because it's got multiple superpowers. I mean, the biggest one that people recognize is its ability to be high hiding, kind of like we talked about with Optima. You know, Aura is more expensive, but you're definitely getting a product that hides really well, even in colors that typically don't, like reds or yellows.
Yeah, I like that. I'm a good hider, too.
You're a good hider.
Yeah. If the kids want me to do something and I don't feel like it, I'm pretty good at just slinking away into the shadows.
All right.
Where's
yeah,
Dad?
I guess.
I don't know. He's using his superpower again.
Maybe you have multiple superpowers.
I think I do.
Too.
I'm
Super
good at
accountant.
budgeting. And I can hide. Can you imagine the movie I would be in? How boring that movie would be.
Well, it'd be like a white-collar crime movie, probably.
So. If only we had somebody who could hide and do numbers. Oh, good. Dan's here. I don't think I'd even need a superhero name.
But back to Aura, it has another superpower that I want to talk about because not many people realize that it has color lock technology that allows it to withstand the test of time, really. Its color is not going to fade like we see in other products, which especially when we're talking about exteriors is the major superpower.
Right. That is a really big one. The color lock technology, that's Aura. There are so many issues out there when it comes to the supply chain, getting the resins needed. There's so much going on right now. The good news is there are a lot of alternatives. RepcoLite has a ton of them. Stop out and ask us. Talk about what you're working on. We've got products that will help you, even if you can't get the super product that you maybe thought you needed.
Right.
We've got something that will work just fine, and it's got its own superpowers.
Exactly.
All right. That's all the time we've got. We're going to wrap it up. If you want to catch this one again, you can find it online at RepcoLite.com. Whatever you do today, make sure paint's a part of it. The RepcoLite and Port City paint stores are open until 3, waiting to help. I'm Dan Hansen.
And I'm Haley Johnson. Thanks for listening.